Words and Music is an intimate, groundbreaking Audible series that blends in-depth memoir with exclusive performances to reveal the storied lives and singular creative vision of music icons. Each thoughtfully crafted volume is as unique and varied as the artist delivering it. Words and Music brings together an extraordinary roster of once-in-a-generation artists, visionaries, trailblazers, and consummate storytellers, including Smokey Robinson, Alanis Morissette, Billie Joe Armstrong, Sting, St. Vincent, and Beck, among many others. Hear them and other groundbreaking artists share their stories and songs, unscripted and unfiltered. Listen to Words and Music, an Audible original series. Go to audible.com/Words and Music to start listening.
Hey, I'm Brian Hyatt, host of Rolling Stone Music Now. Today you're about to hear an episode of our sister podcast, Rolling Stone's Musicians on Musicians, featuring RM of BTS and Pharrell Williams.
So, I'm not sure if you remember it or not, but we've met at
Of course, I remember.
Billboard Music Awards.
Yes, of course.
In 2018.
Yeah,
Do you remember?
We took a photo.
We took a photo together.
I wanted to work then, but I didn't want to be aggressive. So I was like, let's just take a photo. But
You were nice.
but I really wanted to. I was like, yo, let's leave. I think we took a photo backstage.
Yeah, backstage in your room actually.
Yeah, and then I was working in a studio not too far off, and I really wanted to be like, listen, let's leave here right now and go make some great music.
Wow.
Yep.
For more than 50 years, the writers at Rolling Stone have been sitting down with artists to go inside their sound, their creative process, and the quirks and perks of being a musician. But what happens when we take the writer away and ask two pop phenoms from two completely different places and generations to interview each other? Specifically, what might we hear when one of the most unique hitmakers of the last 25 years sits down with the leader of the biggest band on the planet to talk about the price of fame, the keys to creativity, and why it's important to take a break every so often?
Hey, I'm Pharrell,
I'm RM BTS.
and this is Rolling Stone's Musicians on Musicians.
Yes, sir.
RM went from being an aspiring underground rapper in South Korea to performing in sold-out stadiums around the world as the leader of BTS. Now, he's working on his first official solo album. At the Museum of Contemporary Art in Los Angeles this fall, the young superstar met with Pharrell Williams, whose one-of-a-kind career as a producer, rapper, and singer has spanned decades. The conversation touched on everything from the value of pain to the electric experience of playing for the whole world and the intimacy of producing another artist's work.
My favorite songs you made for other people is Sweet Life, of course.
Whoa,
And Change Clothes.
whoa.
And Get Lucky. There's so many, amazing numbers you made. So I was wondering the, creative process, how it's different for you yourself or, between the, songs you made for the others, like the singers or the rappers.
Mm-hmm.
I just wonder the difference, from the scratch.
So when an artist walks in, they ask for something.
Like a track or
They'll
idea?
say, I just want something hard, or I want something darker, or I want, something that's for the club. And so I'm considering what they're looking for, but I'm also thinking about the texture of their voice and the patterns and the melodies that they do usually. And then I think about how I can give them something very different than they've ever done before. And a lot of times, an artist will say, man, that's a little different for me or whatever. And then I'll go ahead and reference it and, sell it to someone else. And then oftentimes that same person will come back to me and say, man, why didn't you play me that? And I was like, I did play you that, but they weren't hearing it in that way.
Wow, that's the fun part.
Yeah, that's the fun part. But then there are people who jump out the window and they go ahead and try it. Because my whole thing is just try it. We don't have to put it out.
Right.
But, people are so good at what they do. Sometimes they're afraid to explore different parts of their voice, different parts of their personality, and different parts of their career. So, they're a little hesitant. But for the ones that do try it, they get to experience something new. And look, if we decide at the end of the day it's just not right for them, it's not right for them.
Right.
But you got to hear a different side. That's my favorite part of writing and producing for other people.
Like challenging.
Yeah.
Like a custom made for each artist, the frequencies.
Yes. I don't know how it is for you.
For me, it's really more comfy to write somebody's lyrics or the melodies for other artists. Not as many as you, but it feels like, you know, it gives me another avatars and characters.
Yes.
Yes. So when it comes to me, it's a complex, and it always comes with the pain, you know, to confess. But it's still the most important part for me, I guess, because in 2005 I was just an elementary school kid, and I just wanted to be a rapper. Before that, I just wanted to be a poet. But as time passes by, when I grow up, I could see, you know, more views. So actually, when I write something for the other artists, I feel really actually relieved and grateful job to do.
Wow. I mean, I can relate to that. I think the pain part for me is probably the fun part, because that's like some of the most vivid paint that we can use as artists when we're like filling in what we want to be a powerful verse. It's like, okay, does it hurt enough? You know, or does it feel good enough? You know,
True.
so I understand you there when you say you inject the pain in your verses to make sure that's like, you know, they're strong. That resonates with me.
When I first listened to your song, especially, I just want to point out, Take It Off.
Yeah.
Because that's my playlist, one of the
Whoa.
playlists. So
That's crazy.
I even translated it into Korean, and it just recorded once when I was I'm amateur.
Whoa.
So you know, when I listened to it, I always wanted to have the frequency like you. Like, you know, sometimes it's just singing. It could be falsetto. Sometimes you rap. Sometimes you just sang the hook for the other artist.
Yeah.
So how do you position yourself when you participate in the song as a player? Like,
Wow. First of all, these are great questions.
Thank you.
And no one's ever asked me that, believe it or
really?
not. Like, no, I've never had a journalist ever ask me
that
that.
really matters to me. So.
That's like no cap. Like, you, believe it or not, no one's, and it sounds like they could have, and because it's such an obvious question, but no one's ever asked me that. So I'm blown away by that. I make decisions based off of feeling. I don't make them based off of convention.
I gotta rap. I gotta sing.
Yeah,
I
no,
gotta
it's just whatever it feels like it needs, and I'm gonna channel it as best as I can, because I'm trying to tell somebody else who's gonna be better than me to do it. And oftentimes, what will happen was artists will be like, "Nah, we want you to stay on there," and I'll be like, "No, but it's for this person." But I channel what I feel like is missing, and I forget that it's gonna be me, because if I think that it's gonna be me, then it won't be as good and I won't be as confident. I'm only confident knowing that I am giving the instruction and the directives to someone else. So, like, for example, there's a record that I did with Mystical a long time ago called
Mystical.
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah, Shake Your Ass, right? And I remember saying to them, "Oh man, you know, we're gonna get like Eddie Kendricks from the Temptations to do it." And they were like, "Nah, the record company wants you to stay on that." I was like, "Wait, what?" So it was like this weird thing where like I started to realize that was my sweet spot, is when I channel other people and I surrender to what the music needs and not let my ego or my feelings get involved. And then I actually make better decisions, whether it's gonna be me on the song at the end of the day or
the
not,
other artist
or another artist. I filled in the blank and given them a different feeling.
These days, I really have been thinking about 15 when I first listened to you. You know, the first feeling and the vibe and the reason why I chose music for my whole life, I guess. So yeah, it's really tricky and confusing, and I just don't know what's gonna happen. So if you could give me any advices, because you are in the band, and you've done the bands. It's different from the K-pop, but you've done a lot of projects, like of course NERD, Neptunes, and you know, of course your solo.
Yeah, you know, being in the Neptunes, being in NERD, and having a solo record really helped me, because, you know, you do one thing, then you take a break. You do another thing, then you take a break. You do another thing, then
Switch
you take
modes.
a break. Yeah, and it allows me to like put on different hats and put on different masks. So I understand that. and I know like having that departure is going to make it really fresh for you. I think it's good for you to do that because then when you come back to it, you know, to the group,
the team.
I think it's going to be, to the team, I think it's going to be super fresh. You're going to have a whole lot of ideas. Who's producing your, who are the producers on your solo record?
Sometimes we do our stuff on our own, and actually there's like an in-house team like always working with us in the label.
Okay.
Sometimes we get our songs from outside too.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like flexible.
All right. Okay.
So you produce your songs for the NERD or Neptunes with maybe sometimes with Chad, or maybe just on your own, right? Is that a lot of work?
You know what? I'm just carving away at it and adding layers until I feel like it's right. And then if I feel like I need some help, you know, then I'll reach out to somebody. You know, my ego would get in the way when I was younger. But my loyalty is not to my ego. My loyalty
what is it to?
Is to the song.
Let's do the song.
It's how do we make the song the absolute best. That's where I'm at now. Like,
wow.
And I don't want to do anything that just feels like, oh, that's cool, that'll fit. No, I don't want to fit. I want to knock the wall down, and you know.
You want to break.
I want to set the whole entire block on fire. Not one room, the block, not the house, the block on fire. I wanted to be, you know, on the news at night. Listen, block on fire.
Block on fire.
Yeah.
That's actually a cool name for a brand, actually.
You know, from what I'm hearing and what I'm understanding, you guys, you hit a place where you were like, you know, what are we doing? Who are we? Are we who we said we were?
Right.
You know, and you know, as you think about who you are and you think about what you mean and what your intentions are, it's like also determining who you want to be. So I understand what that is. I know what it's like to hit that place in your career. And for whatever reason, and you guys are doing fine, how's that feel? Like, where are you in that process right now? Because you're working on a solo record, right?
Yes, like 90% of the work is done.
Okay.
I've released some mixtape as a, you know, one of the member of the band, but I think it was just like experiments. I think this time it's maybe my official first solo album.
Okay.
That I could feel enough.
Okay.
It's been just like 10 years after we had our debut as a team. So, you know, K-pop is all about the band and the groups. And actually, I told you, I personally started my career as a rapper and as a poet.
Yeah.
So that was the tricky part, actually, because the K-pop is like a mix.
Yeah.
It's like the mix of American pop music, all the visuals and the choreos and social medias and stuff. It's really intense and really hectic. So it has some pros and cons of its own. So, you know, after 10 years, I think it was not our intention, but we actually became a sort of a social figure. So, you know, a K-pop band going to have a speech at the UN or, you know, meeting the presidents. I think I was really confused that I'm what am I, like a diplomat or what? So
Yeah.
I was just like a small rapper and lyricist when I was young, like, from the scratch. So it was 10 years really intense as a team. And I actually was in charge of all of the interviews and representing the team. That was my role.
Yeah.
So I think I got really, I don't know, like, yo, I got to stop this for a bit.
Yeah.
I got to shut it down and see what's going on. You know, making my mind really calm down.
Yeah, you know, people all they think is, oh, you rehearse all the time. No, they don't understand that you guys studied, you know, in a different kind of way, where we don't necessarily do that all the time in America.
Right.
Sometimes we put groups together, and sometimes, I mean, like NSYNC was put together that way. You know,
Kids on the
Backstreet
Block,
Boys,
One
like,
Direction.
you know, there's a lot of them.
Of course.
But here that would get ridiculed as like, oh, that's just a boy band. But you know what? They would have very similar results. And I'm not saying metric for metric, but I'm saying very similar results in terms of like the quality of the artist, the quality of, you know, them really understanding their consumers, them really understanding their genre, and being able to keep it going for as long as they really want it because they really understood what they were there to do. They got the assignment.
Wow. I mean, thank you, firstly, for such consideration. And actually, I'm not a representative for all these, industry. I'm just one of the part.
Of
And
course.
it's really for me, like, feels like really dangerous to, mention about the whole system, about the pros and cons and lights and shadows. And I think, if there's one good, there's always one bad.
Yeah.
So for the whole K-pop system, I started my career as a rapper, but I'm just suddenly, maybe coincidentally, maybe by destiny, I just got into the center of this system.
Yeah.
And I've been through, all the stuff
Yeah.
inside, right?
Yes.
But I think for my case, my label and Mr. Bang, which is our CEO of our label, I think he was different because he's actually a producer. So I think he truly understands music, and he always firstly respects the producers and engineers and what you had in your mind as an artist. So we always try to take the good of the system, like you said, the quality, the people, the techniques from the system, and we still try to mix it with the heart. And we always try to emphasize that we are humans and you are human. I'm just a human who makes music and just performs in front of other people. And you're just another human, maybe who have a different job, just coming to see our concert. So I think that made me still putting my feet on the ground. I just always want to tell all the trainees in the industry, I just always want to tell, please don't forget you're a human who have a job in this industry, and please be who you are. And the fact that what we can do can influence the people, and we can charge each other's batteries and give, take, love back and forth. That's, I think, what's been always important for me.
Yeah, I love what it is that you represent,
Yeah.
and it's just great to see, all the work that you guys are doing. And I really feel like you're also showing people that, like, you can be humble.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of humility that you all vibrate. I think that's a great energy that we need more in the artist community.
Mm-hmm. When I first got invited to BBMAs and all the American music industry in like 5 years ago, I was like, man, like, what's happening? And I took a photo with you, right? All the great artists that I always seen on YouTube. So it was just so fast and hectic. So like 5 years have passed from that time.
Right.
We never thought of these whole things, but I think naturally we became one of the representative, like from the Asian community.
Mm-hmm.
So we feel really responsible for that, because like I'm always thinking to myself, like, am I like that good? Do I deserve all the responsibilities for the community? Like socially.
Yeah.
So, but I've heard that you do a lot of stuff for the community and the people.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wonder how you deal with it, those responsibilities, and you have to be sometimes very good and moral.
Yes.
So how do you deal with it?
When you ask yourself, man, am I good enough, or do I deserve all this awe? When I might have those uncomfortable thoughts or questions about myself, or questions about my worthiness, my worth, my value, going out and doing work over here for this and that, it helps answer that question. It's like, wherever there was a deficit in your confidence of you deserving to be here or getting that kind of awe from the fans, wherever the minus is, this adds to it. This is a plus that helps to fill that in.
Oh, I got it.
And
so it's
then
motivation.
You know what I'm saying? So you do that work. You do that advocacy work, because then man, I'm gonna sleep well at night. Like I did my duty today.
So it helps me,
Balance.
Yeah, the balance.
Yes.
And makes me, want to be a better one.
Right.
Right.
And people know you mean it, because you're out there doing the work now.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't just like making a beat, writing a song, doing lyrics, or, making a composition, or, shooting some video or being in some film. It's actually work that's actually helping people as well at the same time. So there's a balance.
So I hope all of my, confusion and, these stupid thoughts help, my life get better and
Of
be a better
course.
grown up for the fans,
Yeah, what people don't realize is like when you have hundreds of millions of fans and you encounter them, 20 and 50 and 100,000 at a time.
Can't notice a single face,
It's a mass.
It's a mass.
And it is a massive voice, and it is a massive, using that word mass, it is a massive energy coming at you. And you say jump.
And then they jump.
And they jump. And you sing, and they sing every word.
Right.
And you know that you can feel through their voices that so many of their lives have been affected and changed because of something that you've done.
That's what I only believe.
I don't know how you do that, because I've had a couple songs do that, and then when I get out there and go sing it, that would make me cry because it was too much of a responsibility.
Oh.
Like, man,
do.
Every time I get that close to that size in what I do as a musician, I always step back.
Oh, why? It's like, is it too heavy?
It's too heavy, man.
Too much?
It's too much of a responsibility. That's why I really revere people like yourself and your band members and other artists like B and J, and like, man, what y'all go out there and go face every night on that stage. It is humbling and it's overwhelming, and sometimes your nervous system got to be built for that.
Of course.
Because that's a real energy. And they'll never, your fans who are out there individually will never understand what you're feeling, because they feel everybody else and they're in chorus with you singing. They're like, yes, isn't this so great? Isn't he great? Man, RM is, man, I love his verse. And, and oh man, here's my favorite part. Here's the hook, here's the car. Oh my God, we're living our best lives. But they don't understand on the other side of that
Of course they can't.
is a force.
Yeah, it's not possible.
And you said mass. That's a correct word. It is a mass that sends a massive energy your way. How do you deal? Let me ask you this. How do you deal after you come off the stage feeling electrified and shocked every night? How do you decompress, or do you decompress, or do you purge? Like, how do you do that?
My first performing was in front of like 10 people in some small clubs when I was like 15.
Okay.
And I forgot most of the lyrics. So at that time, I just realized that, I'm not a star type. I'm not a front man and, like Kurt Cobain or Mick Jagger. I'm not that type of, I'm just a human just who loves writing music and just, the energy. So every night is a challenge. That moment, like after we finish the first 3 beginning songs, and then we, take out the earphones. That's when that's all the nerves, and like there's a different me persona for the next 2 hours and a half. But before that, from the rehearsal and even in the plane, I got really nervous and like so responsible, because I really am aware of the stories that, fans buy the tickets and they come from Brazil, from Japan, Korea, like from everywhere. They just come there for just that one night. So it feels me like I have to pay back, I have to I have to offer them the best night ever in their lives. But I'm a human, and I really get nervous. And I really sometimes get depressed and get swallowed by all the energies. But I'm trying, and I try to deal with it, because I'm a human and I love the music. I love their love, because I think love is really happening when we give somebody, not we receive. Yes, we take.
Yeah.
So I think it's more closer to the real love, I guess, personally. So I just want to give them back. They brought us from just a small city in Korea all the way back to the heart of this music industry, like Las Vegas, LA, New York. Me having an interview with Pharrell, it could happen because of fans all over the world. I'm just always grateful, and I just don't want to disappoint them.
Wow.
I think that's the only motivation that moves me, and deal with all the mass, I guess.
Yes.
Am I pronouncing it correct?
No. You're saying it right. It's the mass. It's the mass.
Yeah, it's a mass.
It's massive.
It's really massive.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask, how do you position yourself? Like, you're a producer, yeah, you may be a rapper, you may be a singer,
Yeah.
you may be a CEO,
Yeah.
Father,
Yeah. Yep.
a husband.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm a public servant first.
Public servant.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that
Yeah.
word.
Yeah. Being a public servant, being a father, a husband, and then music is like everything for me because music's the skeleton key that's opened up every door for me to.
Still music is.
Yeah, it's like the center of everything because without that, I wasn't able to do all the stuff that I'm able to do.
I'm at between my chapter 1 and 2, like about the group and solo. Maybe I'm between music and maybe art. Sometimes I really feel afraid like that. What if I don't like music anymore? It comes right to my intuition.
Yes.
In the sense.
Yes.
So maybe I won't be able to betray this precious thing forever, but I sometimes really feel afraid like music, it's not my first thing anymore. Like some sort of like that.
That's temporary.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then all of a sudden,
I'm relieved.
Yeah. Then all of a sudden you just go, whoa, that's the only thing I want to think about. It'll happen. Woo-hoo. Yeah, it's just timing. I remember you're 28.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 28.
Yeah, I remember when I was 28.
What were you like when you were 28?
Man,
where do you think you are?
Just like I probably still walking around through the filter of my ego.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't tell me anything
actually
at that time. It was like, oh man. Right now, I'm just like so grateful to be able to do it. To be able to do it at the level that I can do it. Like I'm just so humbled and so grateful. To work with the finest and the best, and to do it so frequently. But at the time, it was like, of course.
Of course.
What do you mean? But that's when you're just, I never ever dreamt in a million years, I say that all the time, that I would be able to do what I was doing at the time. It was like, wait a minute, like what? I can do this? Because I was from Virginia. I wasn't from New York or like you said, Las Vegas or like LA. I was from Virginia. What was happening for us at the time was not happening for other people in that way. It was happening for Timbaland and Missy, but not too many other people.
Of course.
I mean, there were other producers and writers and stuff, but it wasn't the ubiquitous nature of the internet hadn't hit so hard. We came into the game in, 1993. No one was thinking about the internet like that. That was when Bill Gates was just like saying to people, hey, this is going to be amazing. You got to check it out. And people were like, okay, he's crazy. But he was right. He was right. And so
he was right.
When the internet kicked in, that just changed everything.
For the Korean artists, especially the rappers, we call the whole American land, it's like it's called Ponto in Korean, and it means like a motherland.
Whoa. So
like, this is some different shit from the motherland. It's like, oh, it sounds like motherland. So like always, because now things are changing. We're flowing back and forth, but still at that time when I started music, it's like it was always about sounding like the motherlands. And I think culture never. It doesn't stuck in some stone. It just flows back and forth. Always. Influencing each other every time. Some of the artists really had some meaningful accomplishments at that time because it was, everybody was poor and got nothing, and the internet kicked in Korea too, but still, it was a small city. So, sometimes I really missed that time. It's like when there was no iPhone or no WhatsApp.
Very different.
Sometimes I really missed that time.
Yeah, that was a crazy time.
It was,
but it's super crazy now. Whoa, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy still. Changing the air. We're in Mocha. So you worked as a curator in 2014, which one of my favorite artists like Takashi, JR, was it Othoniel? What do you get from the visual, maybe fine art?
Man, what I get from fine art is an appreciation from, you know, fellow artists who work in a different artistic discipline.
Precisely.
You know, and I think for every modality that we have, every submodality that we have, visual, olfactory, gustatory, kinesthetic, auditory, they just speak very different languages and they express the art in a very different way. Like with food, something can taste sweet or sour. With the auditory, we can hear something that is so sweet and so pleasant, and then we can hear something that's like, ooh, sour, you know? And so I really get enjoyment by like working with artists in different artistic disciplines to determine where the congruence is. Like, oh, wow, that's your sweet. Oh, that's your sour, you know? So I always have a lot of reverence for people like that.
You know, when I listen to some great music, I feel, you know, I blow away, but still I somewhat feel really jealous. You know, it makes me sometimes really painful. But so it's funny, right? But for the visual art, I just won't draw a single line because I'm just want to remain as an outsider.
Oh wow.
But I'm a lover. I'm a fan. I'm a maniac. But so when I look at all the paintings and maybe sculptures, I just feel really relieved because I can love it as much as I can. So that's the funny part for me.
That's awesome. You're like, you know what? I'm not gonna draw anything, so I can stay on the outside of it. That's interesting.
Any new projects like coming up?
Following
up the cash in, cash out, and maybe.
Yeah, I guess my project is called Friends.
Friends.
Yeah, with a PH. And it's the volume 1. And
volume 1.
Yeah, you guys are on there. Yeah, so you guys are on there, obviously. Woo-hoo! And I'm actually talking about this way more than I'm supposed to, but
we can cut it out.
But I'm just gonna put this out there. You said you're 90% done.
Yeah.
But if, you know, within that last 10%,
please.
If you need, you know, if you don't need me, but I mean,
I always needed you for 15 years.
Okay. Well, if you want to do something, we can actually do it, and
for real.
Let's set another block on fire.
For real.